Jesus freak here. Now, I've suggested elsewhere that I believe the very existence of the so-called Alexandrian text type is bogus. Here's what I think happened. People saw a bunch of these unusual manuscripts. Now, you can come up with two possible conclusions. The first conclusion is that these represent some older sort of text. The other is that these are aberrant manuscripts. These are, weird manuscripts. Now, in general, from what I've heard, the Alexandrian manuscripts, such as they are, they don't really agree with each other. They're just a bunch of random wayward readings. Whereas what we call the Byzantine manuscripts do agree. Now, I do believe there were two types of text. The other type is not the Byzantine and not the Alexandrian, but the Western. It does share some characteristics with what we call the Alexandrian type. But it also shares a lot of characteristics with the Byzantine. For example, like the Alexandrian type, so far as they say it, lacks the doxology at the end of Matthew 6:13. But, like the Byzantine, it contains a lot of other verses that are missing from the Alexandrian type. Like, there's no question about, say, pericope adultery, John 8, 1 through 11. It's just there. There's some places I think the Western type may have a superior reading. Acts 8:37, that's not a Byzantine reading, that's a Western reading. The Comma Johannian originated in the Western text type, not the Byzantine. And as such, what we have in our King James texts is a hybrid text. It's mostly Byzantine, but it has some characteristics that are actually Western. Now, what we call the Alexandrian text type is not a text type. You have a bunch of wayward manuscripts, a bunch of bizarre manuscripts with unusual readings. And they specifically picked the most wayward ones they found, the most unusual readings they found, including blatant mistakes. For example, there's a couple in Matthew 1 where two kings' names are completely wrong. Asa and Ammon, I believe, were referred to as Asaph and Amos. They were deliberately cherry picking the worst possible reading. And that's their Alexandrian type. And one might ask, why would anyone want to do that? Why would anyone? Why would anyone want to shake people's confidence in the biblical text translation? Why indeed? It's a complete fake created to shake our confidence in the process of transmission. It was created by a mix of skeptics and the Church of Rome. To shatter our confidence. But we have bigger faith than that. We don't need anyone coming by every few years and saying, you know, your text isn't good enough. The received text it may have its flaws. It may have its wholesale fabrications. But we can be assured it's a lot closer to the original text than this stuff. This is one of the advantages of the King James Version of the Bible. Not that I feel it's perfect. But they're not beholden to whim. And I think if a text were edited according to honest principle by believers and not skeptics and cultists, it wouldn't be too different from the Textus Receptus. It shouldn't be. What I can say is that I have enough confidence to say if I need to say, hey, you know, do I have a trustworthy Bible? Right here. Jesus freak out.